What up, YouTube? It's your boy Marv Over Matter back with another video. Finally, man, it's been so long. It's been like almost 2 months, low key. This is the longest I've been away since I started making videos. I've been busy. I've been traveling. I went to New York to shoot a project out there. I went to Panama because my boy was getting married. He was on a bachelor's trip. It was a movie. Then I came back to LA, but I immediately started shooting a couple episodes of a TV show that my friend and I created. So it's just been busy. It's just been hectic. I haven't really had a chance to like sit down and stop. But, you know, I hurt my back in the gym the other day, deadlifting. I heard a little pop, low-key collapsed. And so that's been my way of sitting down and kind of relaxing. So I'm like, all right, let me get back to the videos. On top of that, a lot of y'all have been commenting, telling me not to stop making videos, not to stop making content because it's very impactful. And seeing those comments coming in one after the other, I'm like, all right, you know, I got to get back to it because the reason I started this channel was to provide value to people. I've been in the position where I was struggling with dating and I really didn't know what was going on. And so having that voice of reason, somebody that could tell you like, oh, yo, this is what's going on, give you the big picture view. I needed that. So I definitely want to be that for y'all. All right, so back to these videos. Without further ado, this first one, this one was inspired by a lot of the ladies that's been reaching out to me recently because I guess one of my videos, how ugly, average, pretty, and beautiful women respond to a handsome man, it's kind of getting a little bit more traction again. It's kind of picking back up. So women have been reaching out, booking coaching calls just to see, like, you know, to understand where they are on the scale, because it's very hard to determine that as a woman. As a man, it's hard to determine it, but it's a little bit different because it's like you're either getting women or you're not, right? That's kind of the issue. The problem is, are you getting women? No? All right. Change these behavioral things, change these presentation things. Now you're on the other side, you'll be getting women, right? You could be handsome, not getting women, but you change your behavior, now you're getting women. You could be unattractive, not getting women. You work out a little bit, change your style, change a few things, change your behavior, now you're getting women, right? But it's very binary. It's like either you're getting women or you're not. With women, it's more complicated because they can be unattractive, but still getting male attention. And that's the confusing part, right? So today what I want to talk about are the signs of an average looking woman, right? Signs of an average looking woman, because that woman is going to have the most confusion. If you're an unattractive woman, you're kind of going to know that you're an unattractive woman, and your dating experiences will reflect that. Of course, there can still be some confusion, because even as an unattractive woman, you may even still have attractive men that you've slept with, but it'll be very sparingly, and it will never be consistent, or very rarely be consistent. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, a beautiful woman, she's gonna know. Like an actual bona fide beautiful woman is gonna know that she's beautiful. She's gonna be approached. There's gonna be men who, you know, let her know that she is attractive, whether it's through their words, whether it's through their actions, whether it's through them trying to avoid her, like whatever it is, she's gonna know, okay, look at this effect I'm having on these men, and she will know that she's beautiful, right? In the middle, dead average, is where it's a struggle, because there's so many variables that can affect the way men perceive you or the way men interact with you. If you have a certain personality, you might get more or less attention from men. If you dress a certain way, you might get more or less attention from men, and it'll be a drastic change. If you're unattractive and you change the way you dress, it's not really going to affect how men see you and how they respond to you too much. If you're very, very gorgeous, right, the way you dress really doesn't matter. We don't really care about that. It might change the type of guy that's initially drawn to you, but it's not going to change the fact that men are drawn to you if you're a very beautiful woman. Whereas average woman, you could go from not being seen to like, wow, okay, guys are coming up to you, talking to you. So with all that being so malleable, it's very difficult for the average woman to know where she stands, because what's an average experience? It depends on the variables. And there are 3 types of average women, right? I'm going to mention the other 2 later, but the first one I want to talk about is just the dead average, just average woman, meaning she has an average face, average body, and her face nor body elicits attraction or repulsion from men. It's just there, right? And when I say men, I mean men who are viable dating options, meaning they are men who women want to date. They're men who this woman or women in general want to date. So when I say undesirable men, I mean the men who are creepy, the men who are old, the men who other women or just women in general do not typically want to date. They might have a woman, but women on a whole, women en masse, don't really want to date them. They don't have options like that. Those are undesirable men. But when I say men in this video, I mean viable options. All right, so first thing is attention. Women who are average are not really going to get a lot of attention, right? So when you go places, people are not really going to stop and stare. People are not turning their heads to look. People are not really, and people in general, but we're talking about men because we're talking about dating. So men are not really going to look. Men are not going to go out of their way to try to check you out, right? And you can kind of just blend in. You're under the radar. If you change the way you present yourself, right? So if you dress more provocatively, you might notice a difference. If you're showing a lot of skin, you might notice a difference. Another thing about average women, if you're young, there's a caveat, because an average woman who's young, to her peers, is just average. But to older men, she may be slightly above average because youth has an effect. The youth has no effect amongst her peers because everybody's young. But if she is around in the general public, she may notice that older men look at her. But it can be because she's youthful. So if a youthful girl is wearing short shorts, right, she may get attention from men, but she's not going to get attention from her peers, right, the men who are her age, because she's average. So that's like a caveat. So pay attention to if you're a younger woman and you're wondering if you're average, pay attention to the age of the men that are giving you attention. If it's always older men and guys your age, the attractive guys who are your age, the viable guys, the men who your peers want to date are not showing you attention like that, then you're average for your age group. But your youth gives you an advantage with older men. That's just the reality. So attention in general, not really going to get it. If you're out at a nightclub though, and this is where it starts getting confusing, because you may get approached by those viable men in certain situations, like a nightclub, like a bar. End of the night comes, right? Men in general are going out and they want to sleep with the most attractive woman they can. If that's not really happening, towards the end of the night, a lot of times guys are just like, all right, well, we got to just see what we can get, right? Because men want to leave with sex. So they're going to try to leave with sex. And if you're an average woman, there's nothing wrong with you. So there's no reason they won't have sex with you. You weren't their first option, but there's no reason that they won't have sex with you. So if time's dwindling down, even attractive guys may pull up to you and try to go home with you, flirt with you, whatever it is. And if you go home and you sleep with them, you may think, oh, well, I sleep with attractive guys. But it's not because they're attracted to you. It's because they want to have sex. And as an average woman, there's nothing wrong with having sex with an average woman. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with you. So sometimes women who are average looking may have attractive sex partners, right? They may have attractive guys who they sleep with, and they might be a lot of one-night stands there. There might be a lot of one-night stands. You might be able to retain some of the attractive guys, but a lot of times it's going to be like a one-off, or maybe 1-2, and then it's going to just fizzle out, right? By the third time, he's going to be like, because he's not attracted to that actual woman. He just wants to have sex, and there's nothing wrong with that actual woman, right? So that's a situation that an average woman might come across. And really the main thing, the way she's going to know that she's an average woman, is because it's going to be hard for her to get guys that she really wants to commit to her, right? She may deal with attractive men, but getting attractive men to commit is going to be tough. Now, I want to clarify, because even beautiful women have trouble getting the men that they really want, or the man that they really, really want to commit to them, but they don't struggle to get men that are attractive to commit to them. So I'll explain the difference. A beautiful woman may have a certain guy in her sight, and it might be hard for her to get that guy to commit to her. But she could get guys on or close to that caliber to commit to her. It would not be hard for her to get men in that group to commit to her. But the specific guy, he might be elusive. He might be hard to get because she, you know, when that's just life. When you really, really want somebody, it's hard to get them. So she may struggle to get that specific guy, but his peers, she could date his peers. She could get his peers to commit. An average woman is going to have trouble getting that group to commit. So most of the men in that group will not want to commit to her. And that's the difference. They may sleep with her. They may be cool with her. They may, you know, have whatever type of relationship they have with her, but committing to her publicly, being like, this is my girl, you know, all that type of stuff, claiming her like this, that's going to be tough for the average woman to get from attractive men. Now, when it comes to average men, that's where you're going to date more often than not, maybe slightly above average, right? But that's where you're going to date most of the time. But even then, it's going to be more like, okay, you guys know each other and it developed into dating. Maybe it's from a hookup, right? Maybe it's from a hookup. You guys hook up and you're both satisfied with each other, so you stay together. But typically when it comes to like the men that you find like really, really attractive, it's going to be tough for you to hold on to that caliber of man, looks wise. Because on the flip side, he's going to have options to sleep with a bunch of girls that are average. So unless there's something very specific that stands out about you, there's no reason for him to commit. And that's just how it works, right? It's supply and demand. It's simple economics. If he can date 10 average women and none of them are going to make him commit, he's not going to commit. If he goes up a little higher and he's dating girls that are like attractive and, you know, he only has 3 of them and it's hard for him to, you know what I mean, hold on to them because they all want to commit, he's going to be forced to commit in order to hang on to it. But typically he's not going to want to hang on to an average woman because he can get another average woman. So that's why it's hard for average women to hang on to handsome men. And if it's hard for a woman to do that, then that's a sign that she's average looking. Another thing is when you're like just dead average woman, men are going to be polite to you, right? Some men are just gentlemen. They were just raised that way. So they may be polite to you. They may even be chivalrous, friendly, right? But there's a lack of excitement when they're dealing with you. When men are dealing with a woman that they're attracted to, right? They're typically more excited. There's more energy behind it. Some guys have mastered the art of nonchalance, right? Shout out to the nonchalant guys out there. You've mastered withholding that expression, right? So you're just cool. You know how to be around. It doesn't matter if she's very attractive. It doesn't matter, whatever, right? But most guys have not mastered that. So most guys, when they interact with you, they're going to come up, hey, my name's Brad. How you doing? Right? Hey, my name's Chad. What's up? How's your night going? You know, and there's going to be like an excitement to it. Now, as an average woman, I'm not saying that will never happen because there are people who are just charismatic and excitable, you know, energetic people. So they may come across and they may come up to you like that. But men in general, when they see you, you don't see that like they light up when you're there. They're there, they're polite to you, it's cool, it's whatever. That's another sign. Men don't have that excitement with you. Also, average women are capable of having male friends because the men are not necessarily attracted to them. If a man and a woman spend long enough together in intimate situations, yes, something's going to happen. That's what I believe. But typically, you can maintain male friendships because they're not really that drawn to you physically, that drawn to you sexually. So if you hang out in groups and if you're around each other and maybe you go get coffee every once in a while, like it's cool. They're not going to make a move on you. Whereas attractive women, it's very hard for them to have male friends. They're always professing their love. When I talk to attractive women, it's like they always say at some point their male friends break, right? Their male friends are like, I can't take it anymore. I love you. I've always loved you, right? Like the things that happen in the movies, that happens in real life with attractive women. Guys just, they can't hold it any longer, or they start saying things that's a little, you know, funny, creepy. When she breaks up with her boyfriend, like they start trying to slide in, you know what I mean? And it'll be guys that are attractive as well, right? It'll be their attractive male friends, their average male friends. It'll be all the male friends that they have. Women who are very attractive, I truly believe that you understand you cannot have male friends. Y'all play dumb. It is what it is. But those women understand men in a different way because men approach them in a different way, right? The relationship between an average woman and men is going to be different than a beautiful woman and men, because the beautiful woman knows that she's desired by men. So she knows 9 times out of 10 when a guy's coming up to her, what he's trying to do, what he wants from her, right? Whereas the average woman, it's more genuine, right? Honestly, it's a benefit. The relationships that you have with men are more genuine because they're not always sexual. They're not always wanting something from you. So that's a difference. That's a sign that a woman is average if men don't always want her. Like that, if you don't get that vibe from men that they always are trying to sleep with you, they always want you, they're always trying to get something, you know what I mean? If that's not the relationship you have with men in general, typically it's a sign that you're average. Now there's exceptions to every rule, right? Life is life. There's all types of different situations and scenarios, and this is not a science, but there's trends in life, right? And the trend that I've seen is like, okay. And as a man, I know when I'm not attracted to a woman, it's very easy to be friends with her. It's very easy to be cool. It's very easy to, but when a woman is attractive, you know, it can be tougher. At some point, you might want to make a move, or, you know, there's going to be, and not every guy is going to make a move because some guys are intimidated. Some guys understand the game sometimes, you know, so even for a beautiful woman, not all of her friends are going to break, but it'll be a consistent thing throughout her life where, yeah, these guy friends, man, they always, sooner or later, they start doing different things and letting me know in certain ways, like, I'm interested in you more than a friend, right? And like I said, not all, but a majority of them are going to break. So those are the signs of like a dead average woman. I'm trying to think if I missed any. I think those are the main ones. But the key point to take away is that it's going to be hard for you to get commitment from guys you really want. And you're probably going to have to settle when you go into relationships physically, right? Typically, you have to settle when you're going into relationships. Your relationships are going to be built on commonalities and common interests and, you know, because, you know, we hang out all the time and we became really good friends. And then we were like, you know what? I like you, right? It's those type of situations that are going to be how you typically get your boyfriends. It's not going to be just, you saw a guy, you like, dang, he looks good. He saw you, he was like, dang, she looks good. And y'all just get together. That's another benefit, low key, because then you actually get to know the person and you know who you're dating. A lot of times with attractive women, because they can date whoever and the guys are going to do whatever to get with them, they end up getting with guys and then the guy's not really who he says he is, or they don't really like each other. That's happened to me a few times where I date an attractive girl and I'm like, I actually don't really like your personality that much. And then now you're in this, you know what I mean? But you're attracted to the girl. So then it's like kind of a struggle, right? Things happen fast. They happen too fast. That's another thing. Like for an average girl, it's going to be hard for her to just jump from relationship to relationship to relationship because getting commitment from men is not going to be that easy. Whereas an attractive girl, she can jump from boyfriend to boyfriend to boyfriend to boyfriend because there's always a line of guys waiting to commit to her. Not sleep with her, commit to her. That's the difference. All right, so the other two types of average women are the woman who has an unattractive face but an attractive body. That averages out, so she's average. And the woman who has an attractive face but an unattractive body. That averages out. Now, those two women are going to have different experiences than the dead average woman, but they're also going to have different experiences than each other. There's going to be some overlap, but the woman who has the attractive body and the unattractive face, she's going to have the slight edge because men are drawn to body sexually, right? So she's going to, attention-wise, she's going to have the slight edge. Guys are going to see her. They're going to look at her hip-to-waist ratio, right, which is 0.7, 70%. If your hips are 70% the width of your hips, that is very attractive to men. It's a sign of fertility. It's a sign of being able to bear children fairly easily. So it's a thing biologically that men are attracted to. And when we see it, if a body is perfectly proportioned and the face is not good, it's very hard for guys to differentiate and not be attracted to that woman. at least sexually, right? And this is sexually because this is about mating. So for those women, they're gonna have more options sexually from men. They're gonna have more attractive options sexually from men because they are desirable sexually, right? So men are gonna be drawn more to these women out of all the average women sexually. The woman with the attractive face but the unattractive body, there are some men who prefer face, and that's just what it is. A lot of times it's younger men who prefer a face more so than the body. I feel like what I've noticed in my peers, as men get older, the face becomes less important in determining for a number of reasons, but I'm not going to get into that. But certain guys, they care about face, right? But if the body is unattractive, it's a bit tough, and typically men are still not going to be drawn to her because initially what draws men to women is sex. That's just initially what it is. That feeling of I want to hold on to her is typically because a man is like, okay, I got this girl who I'm very, very sexually attracted to. She may have other qualities as well, but the main thing is that he's very, very sexually attracted to her, and so he wants to hold on to her. That's for most men, right? That's what it's going to be for most men. Some men have options of very beautiful women, so that doesn't really affect them like that. But for most men, that's not the case. So what makes them want to commit and hold on to a woman is that she's attractive to them sexually as well as the other things. So in this case, where the woman has an attractive face but an unattractive body, sexually, he may not be that into her. And these type of girls are the girls that women respond to in a certain way, right? Women respond to them. So either women are going to be like, oh my gosh, she's so pretty. She's so like, why is it so hard for you to find, a boyfriend? Why are you struggling? Why this, why that? It's because the woman's body is not attractive to men, right? But she's pretty in the face. And we can acknowledge that as men, that a girl is pretty, right? We can see a girl and be like, oh, she's pretty. But when we look down at the hip to waist and we're looking at the body and it's not attractive, there's no like urge to go and talk to her, urge to go and be with her. The body is the driving force. Like the body drives the sexual attraction, and that's what drives men to go and pursue women, is that sexual attraction. So those women may have women who think they're so beautiful, think they're so pretty. They may have some women who are intimidated by them because they're confusing the fact that the girl's pretty for being a threat, not realizing that the body is a major part of it. So they may have women who are mean to them because they're pretty, depending on how she presents herself and all these other things. But typically those girls are the girls that other women are like, oh, you're so pretty, you're so like attractive, like it's so, you know what I mean? But really, men are not really drawn to that because the body is unattractive. The body's decent, then that's no longer an average girl, right? If she has a pretty face and an average body, she's attractive. She moves into the slightly attractive, kind of attractive, whatever you want to call it, but she's attractive. But if her body's unattractive, that's when she moves into that average category. So the woman who has the unattractive face but the attractive body, she's probably going to do the best in dating out of all of the average women, because that drive that her body causes, that sexual drive that her body arises in men, is going to make more men want her, and it's going to make more men willing to commit to her, because especially with average men, right, it's going to make them want to commit to her more, because although her face is not the best, her body is desirable. So these guys don't typically have options that are desirable. So because she has that desirable feature, and if they get an opportunity to be with her, they're going to want to hold on to that. So these women will be able to get men to commit to them. They'll even be able to have men pedestalize them, because if they have a nice butt, or if they have, really nice lower body, legs, all that, nice boobs, whatever it is, guys they have some type of power because they have something that men desire. The average woman doesn't have anything that the man desires. And the woman with the pretty face but the unattractive body, she does necessarily have something that men like, right? We like that, but we don't desire a pretty face. It's a different thing. We like a pretty face, but we don't desire a pretty face. So if the body's unattractive, then it's undesirable. So men are not really going to commit to that. The woman who's average depends on how she presents herself, right? The dead average woman, she has a little bit more malleability, a little bit more control, because there's nothing wrong with her body. There's nothing wrong with her face. So if she finds a way to present herself in a certain way, she may be able to get commitment. Just depends. Her actions, the way she is going to have a big effect on that, because nothing's wrong with her. So if now she has other qualities, she may get men to commit. The woman with the attractive body, but even though her face is undesirable, right? Now, if it's horribly unattractive, okay, that's going to be tough. But if it's just, it's not attractive, she kind of got her nose is a little weird, or she got kind of a big chin, or, her ears are off, or like, she looks a little off, but her body's really nice. Guys are going to ignore the face. The majority of guys are going to ignore the face and be attracted to her body. So those are the different types of average women and kind of how men will respond to them. But overall, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being average. Most people are average. Average people date all the time. It just depends on, it's just harder to get people who you want that are really attractive, people you find really attractive, because those people you find really attractive have options to date other people that are on your level. They have a plethora of options when it comes to that. So it's going to be difficult. But overall, nothing wrong with being average. All right, so that's the video for today. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think. Drop some topics in the comment section. But yeah, definitely let me know if this is your experience, if it's close to your experience, if you see what I'm talking about, if you notice it, if you're like, oh, I never really noticed that, but he's kind of right. Or if you're like, that's not true at all. Like, whatever it is, however you feel about it, let me know in the comments. And y'all know I get active in the comments. I'm responsive. I'll have conversations, debates, not arguments, but debates in the comments, and just, open discussion. So that's the video again, and I'm glad to be back. I got a banger coming for the guys. This one was for the ladies, but I got a banger coming for the guys. So please look out for that video. It's gonna be very helpful. And yeah, y'all know what it is. It's mind over matter, Marvel over matter. Let's get it.